lot of NBA personnel are kind of upset with how the league's been going this year. And this is something I talked about before the season started, was that, you've seen a lot of injuries this year. A lot, because you had a 72-day off season. I mean, that just wasn't enough time. And everyone's like, oh, it's plenty of time. They just rested for 3 months. No. If you rest for 3 months, then play for 4 months, then rest for a month, that is not the same. Your body doesn't recover the same way. And so you're seeing all these injuries. I mean, you're seeing players who are slow to recover from COVID. Jason Tatum might have long COVID, which means he's still being very much affected by COVID. You have guys.
He's already came out and said he's 100% affected by it.
He said the
other
day that he has an inhaler that he's never used in his life up until now. He uses it before games.
Wow.
And whenever he has to, he uses it, but he's never had to use an inhaler before.
Yeah, I can see that. That's one thing. 'Cause I have asthma, so I guess they're saying that if you get COVID, like, you could be fucked.
Because you have this short off season, you have this weird schedule where players are canceling games, you're cramming games into a short period of time. You've had Jamal Murray just went down with an ACL injury after the season. James Wiseman just injured constantly. You have all these great young players who never really dealt with injury problems before in the past. Out for months at a time. I mean, LeBron's hurt, AD's hurt, KD's hurt,
Harden's hurt.
All these players are now breaking down because this season shouldn't have happened the way that it
As
has.
the season's gone on, players have Joel Embiid.
Let me play devil's advocate for one quick second.
Okay.
Do you think some of these players took COVID as a time to just rest and not do anything, and they didn't practice their craft? And so it's on them because they weren't ready when everything started back up.
Well, so we're talking about when the NBA broke in March, it ended in March. The league started back in July. So that 4-month period, I think a lot of guys probably not. I mean, it's hard to work out when you're in lockdown.
Jason Tatum literally had a purchase of basketball.
When you're in lockdown.
It's not always easy for people if you live in an apartment, or you live
Jason
in
Tatum had to buy a basketball hoop during
You'll
COVID.
find a way, right?
Yeah, a lot of guys did find a way. I mean, you find a way. So I don't know during that 4 months. I mean, I'm not going to point fingers. I mean, at athletes who did or did not work out.
And like they don't got millions of dollars that they can't fucking do some shit about it either.
These guys get paid millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
To do something that they love. So there should be no excuse at the end of the day if when your number is called that you're not playing.
Yeah, I'm not saying, but we don't. I mean, that's speculative. I mean, that's just speculating. Oh, they're not in shape. 60 games into the season, the players are breaking down because of the number. If the players in the first 2 weeks were breaking down, they were hurt, I would more likely be inclined to agree with you that they're out of shape. They don't look ready for game speed. They looked ready for. I mean, out of the gate, they didn't look ready for game speed because they didn't have any spring.
It's the longevity.
It's
they
the longevity.
Don't train their bodies,
but
when you take that time off, you're not training your body for the long run. You're not training your body to sustain. How many games they play.
They also didn't have training camp this
They
year.
usually play 82, right?
82. They're playing 72 this year.
They're training their bodies maybe for 40 games, but are they training their bodies for 80 games? Like baseball is the same way, 162 games.
So they also didn't have the same access that they usually have in typical off seasons because they were more restricted. They didn't do a full training camp before the season started. They didn't do all this stuff that you normally do in a typical off season. Because of the short. So you had that 4-month period. Then you had the bubble, which was about 3 months. Then you had the start of the season, and then you had pretty much right from there off season in a month, and then start of training camp.
It was crazy because the NBA draft happened and then training camp started like 2 weeks later.
Exactly.
Sure, but I don't think you can blame the system for these guys getting hurt. Because
Why
at the end of the day, why not?
I mean, if you're
Because
playing,
it's a business as well.
if you're
because
playing,
the NBA is a business, just like MLB is a business.
Yes.
These guys are all businesses, right? And they're expecting their players, who they pay millions of dollars to.
but they're human. I mean, they can't be more than human.
I understand they're human, but that's what they chose to do, right? That's their profession.
Yeah, but you're saying so you're blaming them for deciding to be basketball players?
No.
Like, they can only do so much that the human body can humanly do.
I agree, but I don't think we should give them, or I don't think we should make excuses that the system is broken because these guys weren't prepared.
It's not.
Preparation
But
is
you're
everything.
just pure speculating that they weren't prepared. What the NBA coaches and GMs and trainers are saying that this season was not built the right. I'll read some quotes from NBA personnel. It's the worst schedule I've seen in 25 years in the league. It's utterly insane. One veteran NBA coach said it's brutal. One veteran head coach, athletic trainer said it's far worse than the Orlando bubble. So all these people connected to the NBA are saying the schedule is the reason why all these players are breaking down. If this were a handful of players breaking down, yeah, possibly it's because they weren't trained correctly. But since it's majority of the league is breaking down, you have to say, okay, correlation causes causation. The shorter offseason, the weird schedule where you're playing back-to-backs constantly, you're getting less off days. You know, they got rid of a lot of the off days for your body to recover, is causing these issues.
All right.
So
Can I say something before you two start going at it again?
I'm done. I'm basically done.
Okay, all right. So I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with either. Both of you make fantastic points, and I agree with you both to a certain sense. But what I will say, the NBA, what they have done that I don't think they did it the right way is what they're doing right now. So during the season, when they had teams like Miami, Memphis, they missed a ton of games because of COVID. Like, they didn't have enough players, so they have to make up those games. Right now, the Miami Heat are literally going to be playing 8 games in like 12 days. 11, or no, they're playing 9 games in 11 days. That's not good. Like, you're gonna see, like, I feel like condensing that many games, like, they should have had a better plan where they could have extended the season and, you know, let those games go out more and then push back the playoffs. Because having a team play that many games that many nights, it's not good. It's not good for their rest. It's not good for potential injuries and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not.
That's the one part I think the NBA is screwed up
Here's
on.
the one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but I'm going to tell you how it is because that's how I say it.
Huh,
I
say
mean,
it.
these fucking guys have all the fucking doctors and massage therapists and physical therapy and shit all in the world. I mean,
So you're saying
figure it the fuck
No,
out.
I'm not.
So you're saying they shouldn't get. I mean, you can get hurt. You're playing a sport every day, day in,
Get
day
hit by a
out.
bus going outside.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
What does that mean? If you're
Yeah.
Just like the most random thing in the world. Just
You're right. I'm not lying.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah. You know how many buses drive by on a daily basis?
All I'm saying. So here's my one thing, Johnny. Here's my one thing. So what you're saying. So you're saying they shouldn't have played this season.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they should have been taking more time off from the off season to allow the players to recuperate, you know, and build a normal schedule. They could have waited until January, February, had an 82-game season or just a shorter season this year, and just, you know, played on for the rest of and then got back on.
They wanted to get back on track
wanted
to
to
going
get
back
back
to
on track.
October
They
again.
should've
That's what they
gave
wanted to do.
themselves-
at the risk, at the expense of the player. I mean, what were you gonna say?
They should have gave themselves a little bit of wiggle room at the end of the season to fit in the rest of these games, kind of spread the schedule out more.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I mean, you can be in a top athletic shape, you can be at the peak of your physicality, and you can still get hurt. I mean, you can get hurt, you know, as you said, walking outside, get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
I mean, injuries happen all the time. You can jump, and just because your body can't recuperate quick enough, you're gonna get injuries. I mean, you saw in the NFL this year, you saw a rash of injuries because players didn't have enough time. Players didn't have enough time to recuperate. You know, they didn't get to build up their physical body strength from preseason because there was no preseason. And so players just got hurt quickly, like Saquon Barkley, ACL. You had Christian McCaffrey out for most of the year. You had all these star players who missed significant time because they didn't have the chance to build up their body and build up their body into football strength. Similar with basketball, they didn't have the time in the offseason to recuperate to build up their body into basketball strength.